Tesla's full self-driving. It is, without a doubt, one of the boldest promises in tech history. It's the vision that's fueled a trillion-dollar valuation and a revolution in what we think a car can be. But for years now, that promise has been stuck in this weird limbo between a science fiction future and a very complicated present. So today, we're going to tear it down and unpack the 5 core paradoxes at the heart of the entire FSD strategy.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at that grand vision of your car as a money-making asset. Then, we're diving deep into those controversial safety claims. After that, we'll get into the hardware drama that has millions of owners wondering what's next. Then we'll analyze the massive pivot to subscriptions that pretty much changed everything. And finally, we'll talk about what this all means for the future of owning a car, period.
So let's kick things off with the idea that sold the FSD dream to literally millions of people. And look, this wasn't just about some cool new feature. This was a pitch about a full-on financial revolution, where the car sitting in your driveway would suddenly start making you money. And there it is, straight from the source. This was the core narrative, and honestly, it was genius. The idea was simple. Buy FSD now because as the software gets smarter, the price is just going to go up and up and up. Your car wasn't just a way to get to work anymore. It was going to be a robo-taxi, an income-generating machine potentially worth way more than you paid for it. It completely flipped the script on cars being these things that just lose value the second you drive them off the lot. But, reality has a funny way of crashing the party. This promise of ever-increasing value just didn't hold up. Just look at this timeline. The price started at $5,000. Then it climbed and climbed all the way to a peak of $15,000 in late 2022. That absolutely supported the appreciating asset story. But then, the market pushed back, hard. By April 2024, the price was slashed almost in half, down to $8,000. And by early 2026, the whole option to buy it was just gone. This wasn't appreciation, this was a full-blown strategic retreat. So why the huge reversal? Well, it was just simple market economics. At $15,000, the take rate, which is just the percentage of people who actually forked over the cash for FSD, had reportedly dropped into the low double digits. People just weren't buying it. I mean, think about it. You're asking customers to pay the price of a decent used car for a feature that's still officially in beta. That market pressure is exactly what forced the price cuts and the huge pivot we're about to get into. Okay, so the whole appreciating asset idea crumbled. But what about the other pillar of the FSD promise? The idea that the system is fundamentally safer than a human. Tesla makes some really bold claims here. But once you start digging into the numbers, well, things get complicated. Fast. 9 times safer. Let that number sink in for a second. This is the cornerstone of Tesla's entire safety argument. It's the headline figure you see everywhere. And look, on the surface, that is absolutely revolutionary. It's not just a little bit better, it suggests a quantum leap forward in car safety. And here's the data they use to get to that number. The analysis shows that Teslas on autopilot have 1 accident for every 6.36 million miles. Compare that to the US national average of 1 accident every 702,000 miles. Yep, the math works out. It is about 9 times better. But, and this is a huge but, are we really comparing apples to apples here?
Spoiler alert, no, not even close. The comparison is kind of flawed. It's like comparing a professional sprinter running on a perfect straight track to the average person trying to run through a crowded mall during a holiday sale. Autopilot is used mostly on boring, predictable highways, which are already the safest roads to drive on. The national average includes everything: chaotic city streets, icy back roads, terrible weather, you name it. Plus, there's a huge bias. The kind of person who uses FSD is probably already a more cautious, tech-savvy driver to begin with.
And here's the real kicker. If you look at Tesla's own data over time, the trend is going in the wrong direction. The safety numbers are actually getting worse, not better. That 6.36 million mile figure is down about 10% from the year before, and it's a long way from its peak performance. Now, for a system that's supposed to be a learning machine, getting smarter with every mile driven, how does that happen? It raises some serious questions. Okay, so let's put the stats aside for a minute and just talk about the hardware and the philosophy behind it. Tesla's approach, what they call Tesla Vision, is built to be low cost. It relies only on cameras. It's betting the farm on vision. Then you have a company like Waymo, which takes the exact opposite approach. They use a whole suite of expensive sensors, including LiDAR. But the most critical difference? Redundancy. Waymo has backups for their backups, separate systems for steering, braking, even power. If one thing fails, another takes over. Tesla's design just doesn't have that level of safety. This comment just brilliantly highlights the massive gap between what FSD is today, a level 2 driver assist system, and a true level 4 autonomous system like Waymo. When you look at the real-world data from FSD testers, it's clear it requires constant human oversight. Applying that data to the miles Waymo drives, well, the results would be catastrophic. It just shows that these two systems are playing in completely different leagues. So, this whole debate about hardware and safety leads us directly to our next big paradox. This one revolves around another foundational promise, that the hardware in the car you bought was all you would ever need for full autonomy. Well, about that. The problem came straight from the top. Elon Musk himself said that the new hardware 4 computer was several times more capable than the previous version, hardware 3. Now imagine you're one of the millions of people who already paid 10 or 15 grand for the FSD promise on your hardware 3 car. You suddenly hear that your state-of-the-art computer is now, by their own admission, inferior. That is not a good feeling. And that created this massive, multi-billion-dollar question mark hanging over Tesla and millions of its customers. Was hardware 3 actually good enough to deliver the final product? Could it really achieve true, eyes-off-the-road, unsupervised full self-driving? So here's the official answer to that dilemma. On one hand, you hear free upgrade, and that sounds pretty good, right? But think about what's actually being said here. It's a huge admission. They're basically saying, yeah, there's a chance the thing we sold you can't actually do the thing we sold it to you for. It was a relief for owners, sure, but it also confirmed the original promise was no longer a sure thing, and it created this potential logistical nightmare for the company. So let's recap. You've got the appreciating asset narrative completely falling apart. You've got customers refusing to pay the sky-high price, and you've got this massive question mark over the hardware. All these pressures were building, and it forced Tesla to make the biggest strategic shift in FSD's history. They killed the buy-it-once model. What they did was pivot to a model that pretty much runs the modern internet, software as a service, or SAS. Well, it's Netflix, it's Spotify. You don't buy the movie or the album anymore, you just subscribe to the service. Tesla decided to do the exact same thing with FSD. It's a move that fundamentally changes the entire business. And from a business perspective, this was an absolutely brilliant move. Let's break down why. First, it completely destroys the price barrier. Who's going to pay $8,000? But $100 to try it for a month? Sure. Second, Wall Street loves recurring revenue. It's stable, it's predictable, and it's perfect for funding that long-term R&D. Third, and this might be the most important part, it gets them out of a legal tight spot. The promise is no longer a future robo-taxi. It's a driver assist service you're getting today. And finally, it was a direct answer to those terrible take rates that proved the old model was broken. And for most people, the math just made the decision for them. At $99 a month, you'd have to subscribe for almost 7 years straight to equal the last purchase price of $8,000. I mean, who even keeps their car for that long anymore? The average is 3 to 5 years. The subscription model just became a total no-brainer.
So the ripple effects from this are huge. First off, the whole appreciating asset story, yeah, that's officially dead and buried. FSD is no longer tied to the car. It's a service that follows the driver. It also creates this weird, interesting side effect where older, used Teslas with the permanent FSD package might actually become rare collector's items. And finally, it's a huge vote of confidence from Tesla. They're basically betting that the product is now good enough that you'll keep paying for it month after month.
Okay, so let's zoom out for the big finish here, because this whole FSD saga, this isn't just a story about Tesla. This is a sneak peek at where the entire auto industry is heading and how our relationship with our cars is about to fundamentally change. For 100 years, car companies sold you a box of metal on wheels. That was the business. Tesla's making a massive bet that the future isn't in the hardware, it's in the software and services that run on it. The car is becoming a smartphone on wheels, and the real profit isn't in selling the phone, it's in the App Store. And make no mistake, Tesla is not playing this game alone anymore. The competition is coming, and it is coming fast. You've got Rivian with its own compelling system. You've got NVIDIA basically handing a toolkit to all the legacy automakers to build their own competitors. And then you have Chinese automakers that are just insanely competitive on price, sometimes even including these systems for free. That $99 price point wasn't just an offensive move to get new users, it was a defensive move to keep the ones they have. So if you boil this entire decade-long story down, this is the transformation. We went from the promise of buying an asset that would make you rich to the reality of renting a service that just makes your commute a little bit easier. the value has shifted from the physical car to the software relationship. It's no longer a high-stakes investment, it's just another monthly bill. And all of this leaves us with one last, big, and kind of provocative question for the entire industry. As our cars become platforms where core features, everything from autonomous driving to heated seats to horsepower, can be turned on and off with a monthly payment, it forces us to ask, what does it even mean to own a car anymore? What do you guys think? Is this the future we want? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. I'm genuinely curious to hear your take. And hey, if you found this deep dive valuable, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.